1 year ago, I was barely able to walk a mile. 1 month ago, I ran a marathon. Welcome here. My name is Emily. This is the Good Enough Family channel where we share about our faith and living out joy in our family life. Today, I thought it would be a great sit-down chat video because this last year has been one of the most impactful, challenging, and exciting years of my life. And that is not only because I had our first child, but also because we have been through a lot since he was born. 1 year ago, I was barely able to walk a mile, and I was forcing myself to do that every day just to try to kickstart labor. Now, 1 month ago, I ran a marathon. I'm still honestly trying to process mentally how much of a whirlwind this last year has been. It was a bit of a challenging pregnancy health-wise. I felt weak a lot of the time. I also ended up having like these extreme, what I later found out was gallbladder attacks all throughout pregnancy. So that was an intense time of not knowing what was wrong until I was about 9 months pregnant is when I got pre-diagnosed with gallstones. And so because of that, I had a lot of pain in pregnancy. My labor is a whole nother story that I will not share in this video, but comment below if you would like to hear my full labor story. I was in labor from Tuesday night to Friday morning because I got induced and Marshall was not ready to come out. So I went through this traumatic, very long labor. Coming out in postpartum, I was like determined to get my health back on track. We were starting to like get into working out maybe like 6 or 8 weeks postpartum. And my husband looks at me in December and he says, "Honey, I'm gonna run a marathon this year." And I said, "Okay." Where did you come up with that idea? And he's like, "A friend told me I couldn't, and so I'm going to." And so shout out to Andrew. Asaph can't turn down a challenge, so thank you. And so he's like, I would love for you to do it with me. So I was like, I don't know, I'll think about it. And he's like, well, you know, it'll end up being like 5 to 10 hours a week. And I was like, I really don't want to spend that much time away from you. And so I would really like to do it with you. And so we actually started running in December. Meanwhile, I actually got an ultrasound that stopped our progress because I found out that I had gallstones. And I ended up going through surgery January 3rd at 10 weeks postpartum, and that set me back quite a bit. We kind of slowly started running again a few weeks after the procedure. We actually got serious about training in March, so we were working out 6 days a week most of the time. Now in April or May, we got COVID. And then we got better, we started running again. We got sick again, we started running again, we got sick again. It happened like so many times. The only thing that kept us going like this entire time was that we said we were gonna do this, so we're going to do it. And some days Asaph would be motivated and other days I would be motivated. We were a good team because we were able to motivate each other to actually complete the training. We got to about August and I got shin splints. We were getting really serious about training at this point. We were running like 3 or 4 hour runs on Saturdays. I ended up taking like 2 weeks off and doing recovery exercises only, and so here we are about 1 month from the race, and I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to get healed in time. Coming up on our marathon date, we had our babysitter lined up. We were ready. The day before our scheduled marathon, we received an email saying, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your race has been canceled." Canceled 1 day beforehand. So we read the email, and it actually was because there was wildfires everywhere across the state of Oregon at this time. And there was literally part of the trail had been wiped out by a wildfire. So we were like so determined and ready to do it. We had gotten our things packed, like everything was ready to get up early the next day and do our marathon. So we were thinking about it. We said, how can we run a marathon tomorrow? Because they actually didn't even reschedule it. They said that you could do it virtually and send in your results, or you could sign up for next year. And we were leaving for vacation in about a week or two to Hawaii, and so we really wanted to get it done now. We were thinking about just doing a marathon length on our road because that's how we did a half marathon. And we looked at the air quality, and the air quality was extremely bad because of the wildfires here. So we thought, where is clear air? And then we thought, let's go to the beach. So we ended up just going the next day. So we went. This is so insane. I just don't see how we thought this was a good idea, but we just wanted to be done. And so we went to this random convenience store. We parked our car and we started running. It was still dark out. It was like, I believe it was 4:30 in the morning. We needed to have an ability to get food and water, because normally when you're running a marathon, you would have people with water and food, energy, drinks, things like that. Here's what we did. We parked our car. We ran 6.5 miles to a Fred Meyer, and we ran in, grabbed water, grabbed like lifesavers and goldfish, I believe was our snacks of choice. We carried in our pockets energy gels, and we carried water in our hand. That is how we did it. And we realized there were so many hills in this coastal town. And we normally run pretty flat ground, but no, this was the most intense hills we had ever done. So I would say about like 75% of the time we were going up or down a hill, including at one point we were like running down these stairs back and forth, and then when we had to come back up, we were dead. We ran from Fred Meyer back to our car, hit 13.1. We hit a half marathon. We ran out a kind of different direction. We were mostly going through town, but also kind of through a state park. We got to, I believe, 21 miles. 21 miles was our breaking point. Now, keep in mind, we were not running this entire marathon. We were doing intervals. So we were doing 3 or 4 minute runs and 1 minute walks. And so we were doing that. We kept up. We were doing that really, really well. So we stopped at this little convenience store at 21 miles and we grabbed some chocolate milk, and the dude's like, hey, what's up guys? You just visiting the town? We're running a marathon. And he's like, dude, that sounds terrible. That's not the kind of encouragement we need right now. I was limping so badly. I would run, but I can't. 3 more miles.
How many?
We were like, well, worst case scenario, we walk to the end. Yeah, we walked to the end. If I was this close to crawling. I think I ran the last 2 steps, so I was like, we won. Because we had no competitors. We did it. We did it. That is the story of how I ran a marathon at 11 months postpartum. While I did not love the running process, I do want to share a little bit about what I learned through training for a marathon. It takes commitment to follow through with something that you said you would do, no matter whether it's running or whether it's a discipline in your faith, whether it's a improvement in your marriage. Some days you won't feel motivated, and that's okay because you have a commitment, and the commitment is stronger than the motivation most of the time. And so I think that trained me a lot about what it means to be self-disciplined. Oftentimes I'd be running and I would remember the verse, but running in such a way as to win a prize is something that I kept thinking of, what am I doing in my life that is running towards a prize? And being able to complete a marathon together in our marriage was very good for us. I think that hours and hours of spending time together, pushing each other and being each other's biggest cheerleader, especially when we're running a marathon where no one is watching, no one is there, but we were there and we were committed and we were in it together, and accomplishing that was probably one of the biggest team building exercises that we've ever done in our relationship. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to my story of how I went from giving birth, having surgery, and running a marathon all in 1 year's time. You are the best, and we are the good enoughs.